I was recently a guest on the Commanderin podcast, which, by the way, if you haven't already listened to, you can do so here, link in the description as well. And in between our arguing about Harry Potter and Doctor Who, we actually found some time to talk about Commander. One thing that came up was my admitting that I include some of the Ravnica Guildgates in certain decks on flavor grounds, which solicited a great deal of groaning and moaning and harumphing from the show's hosts. Well, since then, I've been thinking a lot about dual lands, multi-lands from multicolor decks, mana fixing and the like, especially how it relates to Commander. And so presented here are 5 of the lesser-known budget dual and multi-lands that are ideal for Commander. Unless you are running a mono-colored deck, building a mana base for your Commander deck can often be an expensive and arduous task. But these lands that I'm about to show you have slipped under the radar for a lot of players, and almost all of them can be had for about 50 cents each. So why don't we get right down to it? Starting at number 5 are the budget Fetchlands from the Mirage block. Now, Bad River was recently reprinted in the Zendikar vs. Eldrazi dual deck, but there's actually half of a cycle of these budget Fetchlands that are, yes, strictly worse than the Fetchlands you're used to from Onslaught and Zendikar, but nonetheless, if you are running Azurius, Dimir, Rakdos, Gruul, or Selesnya colors in your Commander deck, you might want to pick a few of these up. Here's why. Their drawback is that they come into play tapped, but unlike Terramorphic Expanse and Evolving Wilds, they can grab shock lands or even the original dual lands. So while these are indeed worse than the Onslaught and Zendikar Fetchlands, they are strictly better than cards like Evolving Wilds, which is run in a lot of Commander decks. And best of all, they're available for well under $1 each. Now, many of you might be pointing to the fact that these are just as slow as a Ravnica Guildgate, and the only upside to one of those Guildgates is an insignificant filtering effect that it might have on your deck. Hey, fair enough. So is there the opposite of those pesky guild gates? A dual land that we can use immediately, right away, but then it's going to slow down a bit. Well, coming in at number 4, we have the aptly named Slow Lands from Tempest and Champions of Kamigawa, and I'm also going to include the Depletion Lands from Ice Age because they're basically the same thing. These lands all come into play untapped, and you can tap for one of 2 mana colors immediately, but they will not untap on your next turn. However, they will untap the turn after that, meaning they can be used every other turn. While these are far from amazing, their cost of less than 50 cents each makes them a great budget option to pepper your mana base with. Alright, let's stop playing around. I want to talk about an often overlooked but still amazing multi-land. And at number 3, that's the Planeshift Layers. I don't understand why these don't cost more. Much like the Ravnica Bounce lands, you return a land you control to your hand when one of these layers comes into play. Now, the catch being that the land you return can't also be a layer, which, let's be honest, isn't a problem. They also enter untapped, so you can tap them for any one of the 3 mana options. And you can do this the turn they come into play. Sure, you're returning a land to your hand, but nothing has stopped you from tapping that land for a mana and then returning it to your hand. Or targeting a land that at least gives you an enter the battlefield effect, like a Halimere Depths or Bajuka Bog. Again, at about 50 cents each, these are a must-have if you're in the allied Alara colors. Sadly, the cycle was never completed, and so those of you playing with Tarkir wedges don't have access to these. So, if you think it's sad that the layer cycle never completed, our next card is even more depressing of an incomplete cycle because it's so great for Commander, but it's a one of. And coming in at number 2, that's Krause and Verge. Ugh, I really hope we see the other 9 variations of this printed someday, one day, because it's a great card. And if you've got green and white as colors in your Commander deck, this is a must run for only, yeah, again, 50 cents. Krause and Verge enters tapped and can be tapped for 1 colorless mana. But what is really of interest to us is the fact you can spend 2 colorless and sacrifice it to go through your library for both a plains and a forest card and then place them onto the battlefield tapped. And yes, you can do this the turn Verge comes into play. This is great in Commander, and besides just a basic plains and forest, you can grab anything from a breeding pool to a dryad arbor to a sap-seep forest, a snow-covered plains, or even a bayou. The possibilities here are numerous. Grabbing 2 dual lands, such as a breeding pool and a sacred foundry, gets you 4 mana colors put onto the battlefield. Are you running a 5-color deck? You need to run one of these. Now, there's a similar card that was printed just for Commander called Myriad Landscape, which for now is under $1 each, but if this doesn't get reprinted in every single subsequent Commander product, then I have a feeling the price will go up fast. Myriad Landscape is a much worse card than Krause and Verge, requiring you to grab 2 of the same basic land, only basic lands, which, while still nice, is much worse than Verge. Alright, so what's the best budget land card on this list that's still often forgotten? Well, it is sadly not 50 cents like pretty much everything else on this list. In fact, it's going to cost you a couple of bucks. Literally, I mean, like, depending on which colors you go for, it might be 2 or even 3, even $3.50. But that's right, coming in at number 1, it's the Odyssey filter lands. When people think of filter lands, they often think of the ones from Lorwyn, which can filter your mana into any combination of 2 within their colors. Well, the Odyssey lands are slightly more limited in that they only give you the option of 1 of each color, but when you look at the prices of Lorwyn filter lands being, holy smokes, up to $20 to $30 each, and the Odyssey filter lands being a couple bucks each, well, that downside just feels more and more minimal. Sadly, it's an incomplete cycle, so you've only got 5 of the 10 possible 2-color combinations, but nonetheless, at this low of a price, I'd scoop up the colors you need before they end up showing up in Standard at some point and skyrocketing to $20 each forever. I hope this video has been of some help to you, and you can help me out by remembering to subscribe, like, share, or even just by leaving a comment. Is there a great budget card for Commander that you think often goes overlooked? Let me know about it in the comments below. And this video, like all of my videos, is brought to you by the generous support of viewers who have donated to me through Patreon. Even donations as small as $1 have enabled me to keep this channel going strong. So thank you.